Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to showcase a Pokemon that used to be one of the most dominant forces in the Go Battle League. Shadow Nidoqueen is one of the original Pokemon that was able to brute force its way through so many bad matchups. I used to love using it back when Poison Fang was a little bit cheaper than it is right now, but they have since nerfed it quite a while ago. It's way back in 2022 when this Pokemon was good, but I wanted to try it out today with two Dark types in the back, and honestly, Shadow Nidoqueen, even to this day, is still very strong. I stream my battles basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN, so if you want to see this kind of content live, please make sure to check me out there. But without further ado, let's get into the battles and watch what the Queen can do. Alright, getting right on into game number one here. Shadow Nidoqueen up against the Shadow Feraligatr, a Water-type Pokemon into our Ground-type Pokemon. If you haven't seen what Shadow Nidoqueen can do, then you don't know if this is a good matchup or not. Let me tell you, this is actually a fantastic matchup for our Shadow Nidoqueen. We can just go for these Poison Jabs and these Poison Fangs, start ramping up our damage, and this Gator is just going to hard lose the two-shield matchup. We can fully farm them down without taking a charge move. These Shadow Claws are adding up a little bit, but we can survive. We can have energy for the backline. We just have to shield twice, fast move this Gator all the way down, and we should be in a fantastic position right now. The second Hydro Cannon comes through, we shield it up, and now they are going to get farmed out if they don't swap out. They end up swapping to Dugong. We have a hard answer for this. Our Pangoro comes in. We have close combat here. I don't care if they debuff us. We survive whatever they're going to throw against us right now. It's going to be a Drill Run. Does not even come close to knocking us out. Does do a little bit more damage than an Icy Wind would have, but still, I think they would have preferred getting a debuff against us. This close combat is going to do a massive amount of damage to this Dugong. It ends up going through, one-shotting them, and in comes their final Pokemon, a Drapion. Since we are not debuffed, they have to shield this, or else it's going to basically one-shot. We also have an Earth Power on our Shadow Nidoqueen. As long as we can land it, we probably just win this game without even needing Sableye this game. In comes our Nidoqueen. We wait a turn to see the Poison Sting come through to make sure it doesn't get caught on that Feraligatr. Earth Power will one-shot this Shadow Drapion, and now this Shadow Feraligatr is going to come in, get Poison Jab down. Shadow Nidoqueen putting in such a good effort in that first game. Next match up against the other Ground and Poison-type Pokemon, Clodsire. Clodsire's kind of taken Nidoqueen's role as the overall best Ground and Poison-type Pokemon in the game, which is kind of sad. I used to love using my Nidoqueen here, but we CMP on the Earth Power. This is not going to one-shot, but if it does land, it puts them into Night Slash range potentially, or Shadow Claw down range for our Sableye, and I know they're going to outpace us to the next move here, so I'm just going to let this go and come in with my Sableye. We've done quite a bit of work against this thing, and they end up swapping into a Primeape of all things, actually. This is going to be a little awkward the longer this matchup goes. I can survive the first Rage Fist. We're resisting these Karate Chops, but they resist our Foul Plays as well, so despite being a Ghost type into a Fighting type Pokemon, it's actually kind of a neutral matchup here just with how spammy they're going to be. Foul Play comes through, it gets a shield, which is helpful. I need to take out this Primeape so our Pangoro has more play. I know there's still going to be that Clodsire in the back, but I'm hoping that their third Pokemon is something that's not going to be another hard answer to our Pangoro. We have a Foul Play loaded right now. I'm going to throw it, try to land it. I really hope this lands, because at this point, if they shield it up, I'm going to take a lot of fast move pressure on our Pangoro. That does end up going through. We can Karate Chop that down in one. We're only going to take one Karate Chop of our own against this thing. So I should be on a good spot as long as their final Pokemon is not strong against Pangoro, and that is a Shadow Feraligatr. Definitely not a Pokemon you want to be in with against a Pangoro here. This is fantastic for us. We resist Shadow Claws. We can outpace to these close combats. They try to call a Night Slash bait, but at this point, the game is over. We have one-shot it. We were going to get a nice sweep with our Pangoro. They realize that. GG's. Alright, a terrible lead matchup here. Shadow, Alolan, Sandslash. I'm going to come in with our Sableye, try to make something happen here, but it looks like they're going to go for a chip and dip strategy, where they're likely going to Ice Punch us and then swap out to something in the back line, which is very awkward. It's a very smart play, though. Going to guarantee that they likely keep switch advantage this game. In comes a Gastrodon. This is generally a good matchup for Sableye, but when I'm down this much health, it's not a good spot. We wouldn't really get knocked out by Body Slam, so we'd force them to throw potentially either Water Pulse or Earth Power if they weren't able to chip us down as much as they were, but because of that chip damage, I am in such a bad position. I have to come in with Nidoqueen. I know Nidoqueen is useless this game. The only way I have a chance here is if I use my Pangoro as a way to sweep. I have to no-shield, my Nidoqueen is useless, and if we kind of call a Body Slam bait, which we do, okay, potentially there might still be a win condition for us right now. This is just another Body Slam coming off. This is not going to knock us out. We can farm this down with Pangoro. Actually, that Poison Jab does end up knocking them out there. In comes the Alolan Sandslash, and their final Pokemon, another Mud Slapper. Nidoqueen having almost no play this game, but we are able to try to spam out these Night Slashes. Maybe I can get a boost. I think a boost could win us this match. We throw the first, they no-shield it, and no boost comes through. Can I get a boost on the second? If I do, there might still be some sort of chance to win this one. We throw the move, no boost once again. That is unfortunate, although to be fair, it is less likely to get a boost at that point than it would be to get one, so I can't complain too much. But Pangoro is going to try its best to brute force its way through this matchup. Alolan Sandslash is still in the backline here, so potentially I can knock it out. I have some energy on our Shadow Nidoqueen as well. Is there any play for us right now? These Mud Slaps are doing so much fast move pressure despite being a non-Shadow Marowak. Bone Club draws our last shield. In comes the Alolan Sandslash. They, for some reason, swap this back into our Pangoro. Is there any sort of chance that we can reach an Earth Power with our Nidoqueen? If we can, we might be able to win this game. We are so close to the move, but I think that we're 1 or 2 Poison Jabs short. Unfortunately, just barely not able to come back from the triple Nidoqueen counter team. The next game here, up against a Shadow Jumpluff in the lead, one of the best leads that we could see. Our Poison Jabs and our Poison Fangs are going to add up so quickly. I don't know why they're staying in right now. This is a terrible matchup for them. Poison Fang is going to put them deep into the red if they let it go. Looks like they do. They're just sacking their Jumpluff here. I know I survive any move. They're going to throw Acrobatics, would do a lot of damage, but if they're running just Energy Ball, I can survive that. Not even in the red yet, and in comes something that is kind of a tricky Pokemon for our team if we don't have our Pangoro on it, but fortunately for us, we have the proper switch advantage. We get it against the Pangoro with this Diggersby. Our Sableye and our Nidoqueen get to avoid this. I throw the straight close combat there, because I figure at that point, they're not going to expect me to instantly throw the debuffing move, which they do not expect. I get so much damage against them. We throw this Night Slash to guarantee either the knockout or potentially a shield KO if they get greedy. I just want to make sure this Diggersby is out of the way. Unfortunately, no shield KO for us, but our Pangoro has done its job. It's neutralized one of the trickiest Pokemon for our entire team, and now we get the farm down. They come back in with that Jumpluff, but I can come in with our Nidoqueen, get the farm down, and hopefully debuff whatever their final Pokemon is going to be. It turns out it's a Morpeko, one of the squishiest Pokemon in the game. They have no fast move pressure against us right now, but we are able to ramp up with our Poison Fangs, and as much damage as we are getting here, it's going to be a little tricky to finish this thing off. If they can knock us out with 2 Psychic Fangs, then our Sableye is going to be in a bit of a tricky spot to take out this Morpeko here. Psychic Fangs does come through. They're very close to the next one. I'm going to CMP them. Unfortunately, we do not win CMP. This thing has so much more attack than Nidoqueen does, but I think our Sableye is in a position where we're not going to get one-shot by an Aura Wheel, and hopefully we can just Shadow Claw down or potentially land the Foul Play to take this thing out. That Diggersby is still alive in the back line, but it doesn't really matter at this point. They're at 1 Shadow Claw range of getting knocked out, so as long as I can take out this Morpeko, we're going to be able to win this one. I'm going to throw the move, just guarantee the knockout, because that boosted Thundershock would actually do quite a bit of damage here. This is going to KO the Morpeko. They don't catch it on Diggersby, and now we can Shadow Claw down the Diggersby, take the win that game. GG's to our opponent. Alright, Shadow Queen up against a Charjabug. Fantastic lead matchup here. This is obviously one of the best leads for a ground-type Pokemon to see. In comes the Safe Swap Drifblim, and I come in Pangoro. I don't know if I've made a mistake by doing this. I might have wanted to come in with our Sableye, who was a little bit more consistent pressure against this with Shadow Claw and with Foul Play, but the worst thing is they have debuffing moves, right? They could go for Icy Wind, potentially start lowering my attack stat. Luckily, we do land that first Night Slash here, which is going to make it a lot easier to take out, even if they end up starting to shield their way through this matchup. This next Night Slash is going to come through. They have to shield this if they want to end up winning Switch, and the way that I see it here, our Sableye should be able to farm this down. I'm just going to no-shield this, and then hopefully our Nidoqueen isn't completely helpless in the backline. Sableye is going to be up shields, up energy, so even if there is some sort of hard counter to Nidoqueen in the backline, I'm just going to keep our Sableye alive. We do see this Charjabug come back in. We have so much energy right now. They swap out to their Marowak. That is such an odd play to swap out just randomly there, but even if they didn't swap into this matchup, I think we would have been in a fine position with how much energy lead and shield advantage I had against that Charjabug. We are just going to dump all of our energy from our Sableye into this Marowak now, and now that we've got this shield, we know our Nidoqueen can just go for an Earth Power against that Charjabug in the backline. We can shield this up, get the next Foul Play off, and take out the Marowak. I'm surprised they gave up switch advantage after fighting so hard for it right now, but this Marowak is not going to have enough in the tank here to get through both of my Pokemon. We knock it out with this next Foul Play, and we can bring in our Nidoqueen. Just go straight for the Earth Power here. At this point, it should be more than enough to knock out this Charjabug, despite not being super effective. It is a very powerful move from a very strong Pokemon. Earth Power comes through, knocks out the Electric-type Pokemon, and takes us the win there. GG's to our opponent. Next game, Shadow Nidoqueen up against another Clodsire in the lead. We've seen how awkward this matchup can play out if they end up shielding the move, or if they end up no shielding the move. So we want to see what happens if they do end up shielding it. Let's see what this Clodsire does. They don't actually end up throwing instantly, which is fantastic. There might be a chance I can make a catch here. I know I don't really have a Pokemon in this game that I'd want to take an Earthquake, but Sableye is in theory the best target for this. So I'm going to swap in here, save our Nidoqueen potentially for the backline, and just use our Sableye as a way to drain energy from this Clodsire. They are farming up a lot of energy, and then they end up actually swapping out to Mandibuzz to absorb all of our damage. Unfortunately, I am not running the Power Gem moveset. I'm running the Purified Return Sableye right now. If I did have Power Gem, that would be so much nicer. I could probably two-shot them and reach charges a little bit quicker here, but that's fine. At this point, our Sableye has actually put in some work this game. I've neutralized the Mandibuzz quite a bit, to the point where a close combat from our Pangoro could knock out, or I could also try to knock it out with our Nidoqueen, but I think our Nidoqueen saving it for the backline could be the better play. In comes a charge move, likely going to be an air release. I'd be surprised if it was anything else. The close combat will knock out from this range. I'm going to overfarm as much as possible, guarantee that I have enough energy for the backline matchup. Close combat coming through. Do they end up shielding? No, they let their Mandibuzz go down, and now either we see the Clodsire come back in, or we're going to see their final Pokemon. In comes this Clodsire once again. Night Slash is going to come through. The reason that I'm really happy about landing this Night Slash is it guarantees that they're going to be in range where I can knock them out with an Earth Power. We actually end up getting the boost there, but a little bit too little too late on a Pokemon that's this low and debuffed already, so I'm going to end up letting it go, try to use our Nidoqueen to sweep this game, and just hope that the final Pokemon is not something strong against our Nidoqueen. In comes an Earthquake. I could try to bait a Poison Fang, but that is such a risky bait when I have no idea what the backline Pokemon is. I'm going to just throw on CMP, guarantee that I can probably knock this thing out if they end up letting it go, and I still have an energy lead for the backline. They end up shielding their Clodsire, so I'm hoping that is a good sign for us right now, that their final Pokemon is not strong against us. Turns out it's a Feraligatr. We saw that this matchup wasn't that bad for Nidoqueen, but down shields against the non-shadow, they win the CMP, and it is going to knock us out here, unfortunately. Very well played by our opponent, unfortunately. Nidoqueen tried its best, but just barely came up short. Alright, next game, Nidoqueen in the lead up against the Talonflame. This is a very good matchup as long as they don't have Flame Charge. We're going to be lowering their defense stat, and since they're probably not going to be ramping up their attack, we're just going to be able to shield our way through this like we do with a lot of different matchups. I've seen a lot of these Talonflames have grass types in the back, so I want to keep that in mind. They're probably staying in this because they're a little bit weak to our Nidoqueen in the back. Look at how much damage we've already done to this Talonflame. They haven't even thrown a move yet. They're not going to get to a second if they stay in here. We can farm them all the way down, have Poison Fangs for the backline, but we don't even take that Incinerate. Only one shield used by us this game, fully farmed down the Talonflame. What are they going to bring in to absorb all of our energy? Looks like it's going to be a Feraligatr. We've seen this matchup quite a few times. I can just go for the Poison Fang, start adding up my fast food pressure, and hopefully be in a good spot. But keep in mind, I've been talking about grass types, right? I want to keep our Nidoqueen alive, just in case there is something like that in the back that I'd want to have that extra damage against. I'm going to catch a Hydro Cannon. This is a non-Shadow Gator once again, so I'm not that worried about it. And it comes a Shadow Cacturne of all things here. That's not the best thing to see, I guess, for a Sableye, but I know our backline should be in a pretty good spot at this point. Foul Play, resisted damage, nearly one-shotting that Pokemon. That is just how squishy this is. I can come in Pangoro, I resist the dark type damage, but the fighting type, or the grass type rather, pressure is going to do quite a bit of damage to us. So I'm going to shield this just to be safe. I know that having energy on Pangoro and a bit of health should be enough to win us this game. We are going to be able to go for a close combat here. Just make sure I get the one shot against this if they end up letting it go. And if they shield it, I'm very close to an Earth Power on our Nidoqueen. I can just swap in here, or I can even go for the Poison Fang just to guarantee that I get this damage off before a Hydro Cannon comes through. This will put it into fast move farm down range, where there is nothing they can do at this point, unless they can get to 2 Hydro Cannons, one to knock out my Nidoqueen, and another to knock out Pangoro. But this is a non-Shadow Gator. I know they're energy dry. Even if they did have another Hydro Cannon loaded, I think we probably survived that with our Pangoro here. Alright, next game, we're going to see our Shadow Nidoqueen up against a Shadow Feraligatr. This Pokemon is, once again, a very squishy Pokemon, right? So, one of the prime candidates to just shield, farm all the way through, and use our energy against the backline to debuff whatever is going to come in to try to farm us down. We are going to shield the first Hydro. We would easily get one shot there, so I'm going to be careful enough to save our Nidoqueen, try to get these Poison Fangs off as soon as possible, lower their defense stat, and make it so this Feraligatr is not going to be a threat for the backline. With how much fast food pressure we've already done this game, I know at this point this Feraligatr is never going to get to another Hydro Cannon. Even if they end up swapping out, our backline will always be able to fast move them down. In comes a Talonflame. A little bit of a tricky Pokemon to see here in the back when I'm down shields. I do have the first Poison Fang. It's going to start ramping up damage, and I will reach the second one here before they get another move off, but I am a little bit worried about what the backline could potentially be at this point, and they will farm us down. They will get a Brave Bird against one of our 2 backline Pokemon. We don't have a great spot to sponge this energy. I'm just going to come in with our Sableye and bank in the fact that Pangoro might have a chance to win this game. We do take the Brave Bird, come in Pangoro, get the 2 Karate Chop lead. That might help us win this game. What is their final Pokemon going to be? Sableye does still have a little bit of health, not a lot, but their final Pokemon is revealed, gonna be that Diggersby. I have to watch for a catch here. I figure that at double close combat is probably the most likely time for a catch, and now that we called it, we can go for the Night Slash first, make sure I don't debuff my defense stat so that we don't get one shot by a Scorching Sands, and then throw the close combat once I put them into the close combat range, guaranteed. I survived this move. Even if they debuff us here, it's not going to be enough to stop this close combat from knocking them out. In comes that Scorching Sands. We go for the close combat now. This is going to be more than enough to take out Diggersby and win us this match. GG's to our opponent. Next game here, we're going to see a Nidoqueen in the lead up against the Beartic. Okay, a water type, another water type that you might not expect to be such a good matchup here, but you have to keep in mind, we're using Shadow Nidoqueen. This Pokemon does not care about fast move pressure. If they don't have any sort of fast move pressure, we just shield and we farm down. We use our energy for the backline. This is what Nidoqueen is good for. Poison Fang is going to come through. If they let this go, I think I farm down before they can even get another attack off. That is exactly what's going to happen here. They try to catch a move on their Primeape. Primeape is not a Pokemon that you want to catch attacks like this on. They have 2 Karate Chops. They might get to an Ice Punch here, but at this point, our Nidoqueen has just done so much work this game. Bibarel is within even 1 Shadow Claw range. They're not getting to another move. I'm going to no-shield this. Nidoqueen has done its job. We survived the close combat. We come out of this with almost another Poison Fang loaded. We are absolutely tearing through this trainer's team. What is going to come in now? Is it going to be that Bibarel to try to catch a move? Is it going to be their final Pokemon? It's going to be the Serperior. Okay, this Pokemon can have a lot of play into us in the backline, but reaching this Poison Fang, debuffing them, and making it so now they're going to have to take a lot more damage from our fast moves is going to be critical. Our opponent clears the debuff. That's a good play, but now they don't have any chance to catch a move, which is going to make our life a lot easier. I'm going to go for the foul play. If it ends up landing, fast moves are all I'm going to need to win this game. If it ends up going shielded, then I'm going to be able to land the close combat with our Pangoro and win the game that way. Foul play coming through. Do they shield it up? They do, so we instantly swap to our Pangoro. Make sure they don't get a huge energy lead here to guarantee that we can reach this close combat before they can reach 2 charge moves against us. This first move is reached. The Aerial Ace would have done a lot of damage if we ended up letting it go. We reach the close combat now. This should knock out the Serperior from this range. It comes through, knocks them out, and we take the game once again with Nidoqueen tearing through that team. This next game here, trying out the non-Shadow Nidoqueen actually. I wanted to see how the non-Shadow was going to fare for a game or two, so we'll see if this is any good as well. We're going to try to do this matchup as we've been doing it, go for the Earth Power and get the damage that we can. Our opponent this time actually trying to catch the Earth Power a little bit early on that catch, so we come in with our best answer, I guess, to a Mandibuzz with our Pangoro here. This is going to be a CMP, it looks like. Unfortunately for me, that means that we're going to take a lot of damage from this Aerial Ace, but we can still go for back-to-back close combats and guarantee that this Mandibuzz is going to have to shield before we do. In comes that Aerial Ace, as I was saying, does a lot of damage, and they might even be able to snarl us down despite not having much fast move pressure with the dark type damage, but I think we're going to be in a spot where even though they will have to shield that move up, oh, okay, they actually go for the charge move against us rather than going for the full farm down. That's fantastic. I was going to say our Nidoqueen has a lot of energy. We'd be able to finish this off one way or another. We end up sponging energy on Nidoqueen. Once again, I know that the Earthquake here is what's going to do the most damage from our opponent right now. They have a lot of energy on that Clodsire. We're going to watch for them to catch if they try to catch a Poison Fang or something, which fortunately for us they don't. This Poison Fang will come through, do a massive amount of damage, knock out that Mandibuzz, and now if you see Clodsire come in, we can go for the Earth Power. They're not quite at Earthquake just yet, and I'm hoping that their final Pokemon is not going to be something that our Sableye is weak to. We've already baited out the Mandibuzz, so as long as the final pick is at least neutral into our Sableye, we should be in a good spot. I'm going to no-shield. Our Nidoqueen has done what it needs to do at this point. It's done a lot of damage to Clodsire. It's finished off that Mandibuzz, and now it's our Sableye's turn to win us this game. In the backline, an Annihilate. Probably one of the best matchups we actually could have seen here with our Sableye. We're up shields as well, which means our opponent has no play this game. Foul play coming through. Probably can knock out. They no-shield, yeah, so it does just instantly knock them out, and now in comes that Clodsire once again. We win the game. Alright, a bonus game here today. No Nidoqueen on this team, but I just wanted to showcase some Starmie gameplay because I've had a lot of fun using it recently. The Shadow Drapion lead, a very uncomfortable lead matchup actually for our entire team here. I was just trying out a bit of a random team with Walrein and Talonflame, looks like. In comes that first crunch. We're going to go straight for the Icicle Spear. I don't want to bait the Earthquake because honestly I want this move to land. We don't have a great way to take out this Shadow Drapion, so I am just going to end up being fine getting the damage off that I can. They throw a charge move. This time I am going to shield it up because I think they're not going to bait us with Aqua Tail. They still need to crunch us to knock us out, and I want a bit more fast move pressure on them to make sure that we're not going to be in range where I am going to let them get to another move if I try to farm them down with Talonflame or with Starmie. We do get a lot of fast move pressure. I think that's going to be 1 Incinerate range for our Talonflame, but this is going to be a bit tricky depending on what their final Pokemon is. They're going to know our entire team because I have to farm down with Talonflame before they've even shown more than 1 Pokemon. They get to choose who they want to bring in here. What is it going to be that comes in? In comes a Mandibuzz. That is a very tricky Pokemon to see right now, but it does give me a little bit of hope that they bring in Mandibuzz here rather than using it on Starmie. Either that means they're very weak to Talonflame, or they're very strong against Starmie, both of which are kind of scary prospects. I have to throw in bad timing. I don't like doing this, but at this point I'm at 100 energy. I don't want to go over it. I need to be able to outpace this Talonflame, or this Mandibuzz rather, with our energy to these back-to-back flies. I have 2 flies loaded right now. Are we going to have enough in the tank to win this game? We're going to shield up this Aerial Ace. They don't have the next one quite yet. We have back-to-back moves. If they shield this up, I can get another fly off, knock out the Mandibuzz, and potentially I might even be able to reach another fly against whatever the backline Pokemon might be. I'm thinking a grass type, maybe a Serperior in the backline. If that's the case, Starmie is in a lot of trouble, but what is it going to be? It is a Chestnut, a Pokemon that's just going to one-shot by the flying type damage here. That is probably one of the best case scenarios. I wanted to showcase Starmie, but unfortunately, Starmie had no play this game. Talonflame putting in so much work, getting us a full sweep. GG's to them. A lot of fun using our team here today with the Nidoqueen. Shadow Nidoqueen, honestly, one of my favorite Pokemon in the past. Nidoqueen has kind of struggled to find any sort of relevance recently, especially with Clodsire around. Clodsire makes it so a lot of ground types, a lot of water types are going to be everywhere in the meta, but Shadow Nidoqueen, as you can see, doing a lot of unique things, taking out Feraligatr so much easier than Clodsire could, having just so much utility and fast food pressure is such a scary thing. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I stream my battles basically every day at twitch.tv/ItsAXN. If you want to see this kind of gameplay live, please make sure to check me out there. Also, I'm going to upload a lot more to the channel, so if you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.